On February 1st, 2025, President Donald Trump announced substantial tariffs on imports from China, Mexico, and Canada. In this video, we'll explore what these tariffs entail and how they might affect trucking operations across the United States. The newly imposed tariffs are as follows. Canada, a 25% tariff on most imports with a reduced 10% tariff on energy products such as crude oil and natural gas. Mexico, a 25% tariff on all imports. China, an additional 10% tariff on imports. These measures are set to take effect on February 4th, 2025 and will remain until the respective governments take sufficient action to address the issues cited by the U.S. administration. Potential impacts on the trucking industry that can be caused by these tariffs are 1. Increased transportation costs. The tariffs are expected to raise the prices of imported goods, including essential items like auto parts, electronics, and raw materials. Trucking companies responsible for transporting these goods may face higher operational costs as a result. These increased costs could stem from more expensive vehicle parts and maintenance supplies, leading to tighter profit margins for carriers. 2. Supply chain disruptions. The tariffs may prompt companies to seek alternative sourcing options, potentially leading to shifts in supply chain dynamics. Such changes could result in longer transit times and increased demand for domestic transportation services, placing additional strain on the trucking industry. Number 3, cross-border trade challenges. With significant tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports, cross-border trucking operations could become more complex and costly. Companies engaged in international freight may need to navigate new regulatory requirements and increase custom procedures, potentially leading to delays and higher administrative costs. Number 4, economic ripple effects. The broader economic impact of these tariffs could lead to reduced consumer spending due to higher prices on imported goods. This decrease in demand may result in lower freight volumes for trucking companies, affecting their revenue and operational capacity. In response to these challenges, trucking companies are exploring various strategies to mitigate the impact. Diversifying supply chains. By sourcing goods from countries not affected by the tariffs or increasing reliance on domestic products, companies aim to reduce exposure to increased cost. Investing in technology. Implementing advanced logistics and route optimization technologies can enhance efficiency and reduce operational expenses. Advocacy and negotiation. Industry associations are engaging with policymakers to seek exemptions or adjustments to the tariffs, emphasizing the critical role of trucking in the national economy.
You promised Americans to try to reduce costs, and so many of the products that would be tariffed, when they come into the country, the outgoing country is not paying the tariff. The buyers in the United States pay that, and then that's passed on to consumers in most instances.
Sometimes.
How would you expect to have prices come down if you have such a broad plan for tariffs? And what do you say to the voters who want to see you reduce everyday costs?
Well, let me just tell you that I got elected for a lot of reasons. Number 1 was the border. Number 2 was inflation, because I had almost no inflation. And yet I charged hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs to countries. And think of it, I had almost no inflation and took in $600 billion of money from other countries. And the tariffs don't cause inflation, they cause success, cause big success. So we're going to have great success. There could be some temporary short-term disruption, and people will understand that. I had that when I negotiated some of the good deals for the farmers. And unfortunately, those deals have been led astray by Biden and his people because they didn't enforce the deals. We have a deal with China, which is phenomenal for the farmers, but there was nobody to enforce it in the Biden administration. They let them get away with murder. So that's another thing we're going to be bringing.
Do you accept the principle of costs being passed on?
They committed to buying $50 billion worth of farm product, and they did it when I was president. As soon as I left, they stopped doing it because there was nobody in Biden to enforce it. But the tariffs are going to make us very rich and very strong, and we're going to treat other countries very fairly. But if you think about it, other countries charge us tariffs. We don't charge them tariffs. And it's about time that that changes.
Sir, are you concerned about the market reaction around tariffs?
No, no. Tariffs, the word tariff is a very misunderstood word. You've heard me say, I say it kiddingly, but it's one of the most beautiful words in the dictionary, really is. And we've been taken advantage of because others have charged us VATs. As an example, the European Union charges us 20% plus a VAT tax, called a VAT tax, very similar. And it costs us an absolute fortune. We are treated so badly. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm products, essentially. They don't take almost anything. And we have a tremendous deficit with the European Union. So we'll be doing something very substantial with the European Union. We're going to bring the level up to where it should be. And if you think of the European Union, then you go to NATO, it's largely the same group of countries. Until I came along, I mean, we were paying almost 100% of NATO only to get bad trade deals. And now it's been evened out, but very unfair having to do, it was evened out pretty good. Actually, I did a good job. They paid $440 billion if you look at the Secretary General's report, and he was here recently and he said that. He said one of the most amazing things I've ever seen is what President Trump was able to do with these countries of Europe, of which he was in charge of them, but he couldn't get them to pay. I went over, I said, you got to pay, and if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. It's very simple. But very unfair is with Ukraine because we're in for $300 billion plus, and they're in probably for $100 billion. There's a $200 billion difference, and they need it more than we do. You know, we have an ocean in between. They don't, and so they're going to have to step it up a little bit.
We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that, but long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world. We have deficits with almost every country, not every country, but almost. And we're going to change it. It's been unfair. That's why we owe $36 trillion. I'm speaking with Prime Minister Trudeau tomorrow morning, and I'm also speaking with Mexico tomorrow morning. And I don't expect anything very dramatic. We put tariffs on. They owe us a lot of money, and I'm sure they're going to pay. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm products. They take almost nothing. And we take everything from them. Millions of cars, tremendous amounts of food and farm products. So the UK is way out of line, and we'll see the UK, but European Union is really out of line. UK is out of line, but I'm sure I think that one can be worked out. But the European Union it's an atrocity, what they've done. Secretary of State Rubio is in Panama right now, and we're talking about the Panama Canal. What they've done is terrible. They violated the agreement. They're not allowed to violate the agreement. China's running the Panama Canal. That was not given to China. That was given to Panama foolishly. But they violated the agreement, and we're going to take it back, or something very powerful is going to happen. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
The recent tariffs introduced by the Trump administration present significant challenges for the American trucking industry. While the full extent of the impact remains to be seen, it's clear that companies will need to adapt swiftly to navigate this evolving landscape. Staying informed and proactive will be key to maintaining resilience in these uncertain times.